Hey, everybody! Welcome to a very special, broadcast on a Saturday. In the evening, afternoon, you want to call it.
Yeah.
I am joined by Rayne Coleman, and I have listened to Rayne Coleman. I have been a fan of Rayne Coleman for a very, very long time. Rayne Coleman hosts the Carefree Nerd podcast. It is unlike any podcast that I listen to or that I've enjoyed. Rayne,
Yeah.
welcome to the 3+1 world.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for making time. You have a very full week of engagement. So tell everybody out there, for those who are watching us live and those who are going to watch us throughout the course of the week, because of the time frame, I'm going to put this one in rotation quite a bit. Tell us where we can find you throughout the week, because it feels like you're doing something every week.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so Rayne Coleman, Carefree Black Nerd Podcast, all your streaming platforms, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, all that. Just type in Carefree Black Nerd and there I am. But yeah, it's at least 2 shows a week. That's going to ramp up pretty soon.
It's prolific. You produce so much content.
Yeah.
And it's constant. Like, you're constantly talking about something in this Black nerd community.
Yeah. It's I love it. I've been doing it for about 5 years now. And when I first started, my premise was talking about characters of color, Black and POC in comics to, heighten that representation. And the main question I got from everybody was, will you even be able to last past a couple months? Are there really that many characters? And I'm like, yeah, there's a lot. So 5 years later, there's a bunch of different spin-offs, and here we are. I'm still pushing.
We are going to explore these characters. We're going to explore your favorite characters. We're going to have a focus on WandaVision.
Yes.
That's kind of what I said. This is when WandaVision came out. That's when I said, I've got to interview Rayne. I've got to talk to him about his beliefs, his takes on it. It's a milestone moment. WandaVision for me in my life has been a milestone moment. Yeah. So we're definitely going to talk about that. For those who are out there, type in the comments, type in the chat. You guys know how to engage. Join us. Before we go any further, we're going to take a moment and do a moment of silence today for Breonna Taylor. For those who are not aware, today we're streaming live on Saturday, March 13th. It was a day in America where many people were beginning to understand what we thought a temporary restriction due to COVID-19, but in actuality, it was the day also that Breonna Taylor's life was lost to gun violence, excessive police brutality, and excessive show of force, ignorant indignation, so many different things that now came about. Breonna Taylor and the loss of her life has truly changed the course of America and our society. It's certainly changed the way that I view America. And so let's just take a moment and have a moment of silence for Breonna Taylor. So again, it's been a year that we've lost Breonna, and it's also been, and in this year, there's been a year of COVID-19. As of today, we have, 525,000 people who have lost their lives to this disease. In that year, though, Rayne, I know that we've searched for positivity, we've searched for high spots. What has been for you, what has been a highlight? What has been a Black nerd highlight of 2020? The Black nerd highlight of 2020.
I would say community. So we all know how wild Twitter can be. And I feel like with COVID and with everyone being home, there's been this explosion of community. There's been people who have been tapping into things maybe they wouldn't before. Folks going back to school, knowing that they kind of sort of have the time, but it's more or less you can't go anywhere. It's been people starting up YouTube channels, podcasts, diving into art or passions that they didn't have before, or that they didn't think they were able to do before. So I think the highlight for me is that out of all of this year-long, hopefully not too much longer, but year-long mess has allow people to, even within all of the sadness and the death and some of the struggles, to band together, be it starting a GoFundMe, starting a YouTube page, reaching out to people you didn't before. It's really been like that online space has been great for my sanity, and I feel like it's been the same for others. So I think the sense of community has amplified just that much more because we're all going through the same thing. So yeah.
I agree. I would have to say that I agree. I think for me, you know what, that is somewhat my highlights somewhat the opposite.
Okay.
Right. So I'm assuming I assume you're an extrovert, but you revealed to me that you're Cancer.
Yeah.
And Cancers, by the nature of their existence, they're introverted, and the fact that you can get on that mic and just talk indicates that you may be an introvert.
Yeah.
So would you say you're more of an extrovert or more of an introvert?
I'll say situational. Well, no. Honestly, I don't know, because I would much rather be home. I can watch TV, be in my own space where I pay these bills.
You're happy doing that.
Because of my mother and the way I was raised, we were on the go constantly. So it's probably more introvert, but I can turn it on when need be. You know what I'm saying?
What's your mom's sign?
Capricorn. And she, when I tell you,
on the go, I'm about the business on the go.
Look, I was at concerts as like a toddler, strapped to her back at the concerts out in the park, going like we never stopped moving. So yeah,
I have found that your answer about the growth and the building of the community is, in my opinion, a very introverted response, because that's not something that you may have been as attuned to pre-pandemic. As an extreme extrovert, I would have to say for me it's the opposite, and it's been finding joy in isolation, finding joy in being forced to shut the world out and dig inside and really just have moments in the home that were enjoyable. Right. I don't probably delve as deeply. I know I don't delve as deeply as you do into high quality television, but I definitely can say that I grew to appreciate that a lot more during the COVID-19 experience. I do look forward to it coming to an end, but as we reflect after a year of this on the positives, I have to say that, being able to kind of force out people and really gain a greater sense of significance, because I've been very blessed I have not contracted, COVID-19 during the experience. And I think a big part of that was a strong COVID-19 bubble of core friends and our unwillingness to violate the norms of that core group for each other's safety. And so it brought us closer together, and we had a lot of fun doing it. And it really did, it was a good experience on that end. So was there a program over the quarantine time frame that you fell in love with that you didn't expect to fall in love with?
Oh, I consume so much. Man. Well, okay, so there's one show in particular, and I did a review on it with some other podcasters, and it's We Are Who We Are. It's a HBO Max series, and it is set on an American military base in Italy, about two kids coming of age story, a young white boy and this young black, I want to say queer because I'm not 100% on how to, I don't want to be incorrect, but charge it to my head, not my heart. It's a girl who goes through sort of a transitional process where she identifies more as male, and I could be butchering the perception of this character, so forgive me if I am. But that show, I've seen the trailers. I plan on watching it, but when me and the Color Pages podcast, when they decided like let's do this, and I sat down with these characters. Kid Cudi is in it as well. It was just so good. Like there's some shows that you can just watch and they're funny, they're good, they're entertaining. But like when this ended, it felt right, but I wanted so much more. I didn't expect to like this show to the extent that I did. And it's
Is it a show that it's over? It was a one-time run and it's done.
Well, okay, so there's only one season out, and I watched some of the YouTube videos from the director and writer, and it's like there's space for there to be another one, but at this point, it's just this one season. I think it was 8 episodes, I think 8, but
I have not seen the show, so I'm very excited to watch it. I'm adding it in. It's something I'm gonna jump into and dive into. Okay. You know, later tonight when I'm sitting on the couch, forcing myself not to eat snacks, I'm going to watch this.
Yeah,
I would have to say that the show that I surprisingly enjoy, even though people are going to judge me for probably not thinking I would enjoy it, was Lovecraft Country. I had no interest in Lovecraft Country from the premise, so I didn't want to watch it.
Okay.
But I majored in English. So I knew H.P. Lovecraft. I know that. I knew the nonsense of his life. I knew the racism. I knew that, right? I actually not only did I take a sci-fi lit course, I literally taught a sci-fi lit course. When I was an adjunct at a college. So I'm adjuncted since 2006, and so I've taught a number of lit courses. That was one of the courses that I taught in my time frame. So I knew all about H.P. Lovecraft. I had no desire to read anything or watch him on the screen, thinking it would be about him, but it wasn't, of course.
Right.
A complete flipping of his work and his beliefs and his creation. So I must say, for me, that was what I watched during the pandemic that I liked, that I did think that I was gonna like. Did you think that you were going to like WandaVision in the beginning?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's mainly because like you mentioned before the show, Wanda was your girl. That was your character.
Yeah, Wanda's my girl. Wanda is Wanda is the comic book character of my life. My whole entire comic book viewing life has been Wanda Maximoff, the real original Wanda Maximoff from Wundagore Mountain. The real Wanda.
But I knew I was going to love it mainly because Wanda is a character unlike any of the Avengers we've gotten so far. Elizabeth Olsen, just looking at the production wise, you have Tony Stark and Steve Rogers, and they're older men, and they've been doing this for 13 years. She was a newer character. I figured, as far as business is concerned, her contract would be a little bit more flexible. She might be more willing to play Wanda a little longer, and also just the mention of there being a Wanda series had me excited. But once they dropped some of the promotional stuff, some of the marketing things, before we even got what we got this go round, I was like, oh, this is it. I didn't understand fully what we were getting, but knowing that she has a history full of magic, knowing that she is as powerful as she is in the comics, knowing that there is opportunity to build up a woman character from kind of little to nothing from the Avengers films and make her the lead player, I knew this was going to be good. I knew it.
I think that my love of Wanda made me fearful of any kind of work with her. So when they first introduced the character, I was like, okay, they're altering her history. I didn't like that. Wanda is a mutant. She entered the scene. She's an original member of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. She isn't, that was her foray into the Marvel universe is a mutant. The fact that they would take that away from her character, I didn't like that. True. Then, I felt like, of course, her powers were stopped. They were what they were. Anywhere near the full manifestation of Wanda. Because again, if Wanda is the focus character, it's a comic book I'm going to buy. So I know exactly where Wanda's powers took her. I know exactly where this all ended up. And the fact that we're sitting here letting her do a few little magic balls of light, I felt like Marvel was, here we go again, letting a misogynistic organization focus on white male superheroes, that you can throw us a few bones with black people. I didn't. So here we go again. I expected Marvel to do a disservice to the character. I thought WandaVision was going to be a Wanda and Vision together, maybe more focused on Vision and his powers. I was very pleased at the direction that they were, that they took it, but I didn't anticipate it happening.
Okay. So what about when those, because I have comments, when those first 3 episodes dropped, like, did you fall in love with it like right away, or did it take a while?
I definitely didn't. So I didn't even watch it. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch the show until 4 episodes had dropped.
Okay.
Not that I was planning to watch it anyway, but it was a matter of, I'm not going to watch this until enough of this, because I don't like that about Disney Plus. Like, I'm like, wait a minute. Now I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna pay this subscription. And you go drop shows like it's like network television. No, right. I need you to front load every episode of WandaVision, Disney Plus. I need you to put every damn episode of the podcast or the show up before anything is dropped, so I can sit and binge watch like that's what people do. That's what we do. I don't like this. Let me drop a few episodes. I get do it because one thing I can say about WandaVision that I've learned about the way they market.
Yeah.
Disney Plus prepared their memes, prepared their sounds. They had this marketing organized very well to hook us, give us content to share in the world. So that's nice about it. But I don't want that. I want to know what's going to happen. When I watch it, if I start watching that bad boy at 6 p.m. on Saturday night, I want to be able to be done at 3 a.m. on Sunday morning and be like, wow, it was good. So I waited. But I will say that the first 2 episodes, they dragged for me. But I knew it was going somewhere interesting. I knew off the bat what Wanda had done. It wasn't a surprise that she did. So I wasn't shocked by it. But I was there anything shocking in the series for me? No. There was nothing that shocked me in the whole series except that there weren't any Avengers coming to save the day. I didn't expect to see Steve Rogers or someone come from the Avengers team to help her, support her. That was a surprise. But in terms of anything else, I wasn't too surprised. But what about you? Was there anything in the series that shocked you, or anything that was like, this was the moment?
That shocked me. Yes and no, not really. I enjoyed it. And as I know the Agatha thing, like we kind of figured that out ahead of time. I don't know, maybe White Vision. I think when they did that all White Vision, that was the thing that I was like, okay, they're going there. I wasn't expecting that. And I also wasn't expecting the Vision leaving Westview and then realizing that he wasn't real. I think because of the way they set up the marketing, I assumed she just got the original Vision and put them back together. So that was shocking for me. Other than that, because I am this obsessive nerd, I'm looking into everything. The twins, Ralph, the creation of the twins, Avengers Disassembled, House of M. So there wasn't much that surprised me.
It's such a heartbreaking story. It is such a heartbreaking story. I was heartbroken at 10 years old, so I know I'm aging myself, and if anyone who knows me knows I don't like to do that. Like, my age is like, it's, you don't know, I don't do it. Stay out of black folks' business. So, it's not, but I am willing to age myself now, because I distinctly remember being 10 years old and finding this was the series. It was in this order of comic books that I started to really fall in love. And it started with Vision Quest, when Wanda was so hell bent on finding the body of her husband.
Her man,
had her husband, and she was going to use all the powers at her disposal to find him. Then she finds her husband. He doesn't know who she is. There's no memory. There's no emotion. And what is awful is he never gets the emotions back. Never. And the vision from when I was 10, I was about to say the year, from the vision from the time that I was 10 years old up until even to this day, that character never became the old character that he was. And he never could love her back. And then again, like you said, towards the end, like this last image is Wanda, truly like she lost it. Like she truly said, "This is not the life for me. I am going to create the life I want, no matter what you people think about it." And you know, it was again at 10 years old. I was heartbroken about what they were doing to Wanda, and I felt that same level of heartbreak all over again after experiencing, WandaVision.
Yeah.
Do you believe that Marvel is going to give us the Wanda, the Scarlet Witch of Avengers Assemble?
Honestly, I don't know. Because I feel like with WandaVision, we got her story. We have the general public, anyways, has a bit more understanding behind her and her actions. I'm just afraid they're going to make her a villain when, though she was part of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, and MCU is slightly different from Marvel Comics. I just don't want them to position this woman that's been through hell and back as now the big bad. I don't want to see this.
How can they? But that's probably exactly, Rayne, what they're going to do. That speaks to the problem of Marvel comic books. And I hope that the activists that are out there highlight. I want them to highlight this. You have two team-based comic series that are iconic in the Marvel universe, the X-Men and the Avengers. Wanda is the second female character to be a part of the Avengers, the first one being Janet Van Dyne, the Wasp. Wanda was the second one, far more powerful than any other Avenger, but because she's female, her powers were very much suppressed. And at one point, I remember seeing it where her power was to take a truck and dent it, like she manipulated reality and dented the truck. It was ridiculous what they were doing with this character. The same thing with Jean Grey, always the weakest character, always so fragile because of the way that men created comic books, wrote comic books, and thought of characters. When Jean finally becomes powerful, she loses her mind, becomes Dark Phoenix, and then Wanda becomes powerful and loses her mind, becomes Scarlet Witch. That to me is concerning. If Marvel does that, I demand that the activists out here take action and call them out for it. I do believe that they're going to take Wanda in a villainous route with justified actions. I mean, she's lost her children, she's lost her husband, she's lost her children. It will be. I have not followed Tommy and Billy as their characters have evolved. I may now, after this is over, get on Amazon and order some of the. I followed Young Avengers up until it was canceled. I did follow the Children's Crusade, so I have all of those comics. But anything they're doing now, with Hulkling being like the leader of the Kree Empire, I quit buying. I actually quit buying those.
Same.
I took a whole break. I did buy the House of X. House of X, Powers of X. Did you buy that?
Yes, I'm still collecting them. Now I'm behind mainly because life, and I got tired. I just got tired. But
just taking a brief moment, I do think that Hickman is one of the best writers that occur. He is right. Hickman's the best writer of the moment. Period. Point blank. But here's the thing. He brought new life into the Avengers and that whole entire series. He brought new life into the X-Men, that whole series. But once he brought them new life, what came afterwards was trash. Had it gotten better, I bought a full run of Martyrs, of New Mutants, a full run of X-Men. They were all horrible. Every single one of them had trashy, stupid, just dumb storylines. Nobody wants to see Corsair. Corsair has never mattered. We do not want to see him.
I don't understand. In the age of comics where nobody is ever truly dead, why have you not brought back Scott Summers' mother and sent Corsair to space and let him do what he do? Why is his mom not back? Why has she not been resurrected?
We need to talk. We need to put that out there too. I'm gonna have me a series of tweets, and I'm going to demand that Marvel also, because they're constantly marginalizing women and women's voices. Why isn't their mom? Where is the mom? I agree.
She's been there for decades. Like that's so concerning that there's certain people like Spider-Man's Uncle Ben, who like they're dead, and that is part of the defining moment of the character. But he's been back, he's been resurrected before. Where is, because I feel like Scott has horrible father figures. You got Corsair, you got Mr. Sinister with his creepy ass, you got Professor X, who has not been a great parental figure at all.
Worst parent of all time.
Bring his mama back, because they need it.
Scott desperately needs it. Scott was my first favorite X-Men.
Okay.
As well. I'm a leader type dude. So I love Scott, but Scott needs a mama bad. He has so many mother issues. That's a phenomenal observation, Rayne.
Yeah. He's terrible. I like him, but he's terrible. He's a terrible family man. Like that's one thing I love about comics, and I hate it because so many creative teams have handled these characters over the years, and a lot of them have not been us. There is a certain story that is crafted that when you get into this modern age and people are complaining about social justice warriors and this and that, it's like, no, we just have to address the ills of the past and make them current. There's a lot of movies I enjoyed from the 80s and 90s that would not do well today if they were released. So you have these creators who have to go back and make sense of all of this trash in the past. And this man has Scott Summers' history with women and with his family and with children is horrible. So hats off to Hickman for making this make sense. But Scott he's a victim.
Did they get better?
I feel like with the direct, okay, so where I jumped off at was like right before the X of Swords event from, I think it was last year.
So I didn't see it. What was that about?
Who knows? A bunch of swords, and not to trivialize it, because I'm sure it was entertaining, but I'm so far behind, and it's not because it's not simply life. Sometimes it's just my issue with comics is that you have 400 books in the same universe, and you expect us to buy them all. I can't buy Marauders and X-Men and X Factor, and like I can, but then why? I'm gonna go broke for an industry that treats Black, queer, marginalized, and women as if we're second rate. When you have a character who's my favorite of them all, brown's dark, deep, rich skin, and yet I have to see you print her on page looking like Zendaya or looking like, racially ambiguous white passing. That's an issue for me. So for me to put time and energy and resources into these books, and we're still getting the same bull that could have been course corrected by simply picking up a Jet magazine, by simply pulling up your favorite Black icon that these white folks worship and looking at their skin tone and seeing that Kanye West and Kim Kardashian have two different skin complexions. So if I'm going to draw a dark-skinned character, maybe I'll lean towards him and not towards his wife. So it's just...
That's a phenomenal point. A phenomenal point. Was there a moment in WandaVision that was your favorite moment? What was your favorite moment from WandaVision?
Favorite overall? God, there was
all 9 episodes.
Vishon. No, not Vishon. No, my favorite would have to be I think Monica. Monica's the visual transformation from her being regular woman to her being this superpower person. When she walked through that hex and you could see the different variations of her from being a child to now kind of split apart and come back together, that to me was so cinematic. It looked just like a comic book panel, and knowing where she's going from here, I felt like that. But there's so many, but that's what I'm gonna say was my favorite.
That was the one.
Yeah.
For me, it was this moment. This was the moment. Is when we saw the full glory of what Wanda would become. Absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. And this is, what, one of my favorite students of all time has joined us. I was very blessed to teach high school English for 9 years. And so Lydia's one of those students. And Lydia says, I appreciate the overall theme of grief and creation of WandaVision and how dealing with grief impacts people around you, even You don't realize that that is absolutely the story
Right, Lydia.
of Wanda Maximoff as a character throughout the entirety. You know, that's the thread of her
Yeah,
storyline. Whew, it is heartbreaking. It's
it is.
always been heartbreaking.
Mhm. Yeah,
That's Wanda.
that's
That is the character. I
mhm.
need to go back and find out who wrote that arc from that when I was young.
Mhm.
Who was that writer? Who was that? Because that really was one of the most brilliant writers out there. And kind of see some other things that he's done to have set her up so well.
Yeah,
You Black Lightning Matters has been a continuous podcast
yeah,
discussion. I watched the first season and I started some of the second, and it was a wrap. I need to
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Did it get better?
No, it did not. It did not. Have you? It no, it didn't. For me, this goes back to the hill I die on is representation in comics and related media. That people, when you're dealing with Black properties, I feel as if a lot of times, more times than not, they're not being handled with care, or they're not given the same chance that other properties are given. Black Lightning season 1 was a solid season. It was
It was
something
great.
new.
It was very good.
Yeah,
I watched it.
and I after that first season, I don't know what happened because it got increasingly more convoluted. It got weird. It's almost as if they did not map out the story arcs and they were just like, oh, this is this episode, and then we'll do that. If you've ever seen Riverdale, Riverdale season 1 to me was a perfect season. Now, it wasn't perfect, there were its flaws, but a solid 13 episode first season. It gave you everything you needed.
I think I watched Riverdale up to season 4.
I hate that show. I hate it. And to me, it's the difference between the characters. You have a show full of white, conventionally attractive or white passing characters, and it's going off the rails since season 2, and yet they're still getting renewed.
It started decent.
Yeah, the first season was great. It was a perfect murder mystery, whodunit, a dark take on these funny, lovable characters. I loved that first season. And much like with Black Lightning, that first season was great, and then it kind of went off the rails. And now, for whatever reason, it is no more. But you get shows like Riverdale keep constantly getting renewed. And it's like, I don't care how great Riverdale may be now. They went through several seasons where it was like, what the hell is going on? What are y'all doing? So I don't understand.
Now, but Black Lightning has been renewed, right?
No, this is its final season.
Oh, is it?
4, this is it. The farewell season. No more.
Oh, I didn't know that. I did not know that Black Lightning was canceled, yet Riverdale endured.
Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, the show is not. There are good moments, and I've been watching it for so long that I feel fine with just finishing it out because I have watched and reviewed it since before episode 1. But they're making some choices. Yeah, Lydia, you're right. It's all about the money behind the price. They're making some choices over there that I'm just like, its continuity is off. It is like the editing is off at times too. It's a lot where I'm like, man,
it's just not of quality. Do you believe that Disney will do justice to the X-Men now that they have acquired finally that portion of the Marvel Universe?
Yes and no. More yes than no. And I say yes because I feel like they've given us 13 plus years of showing I can handle it. Because if they could turn Iron Man into a household name,
correct,
they definitely can handle. And with Feige at the helm and him being able to, him proving that he's able to move pieces around. And no one's without fault. So there have been some missteps. Hell, we've mentioned some of them here in this episode. So I'm not saying that they'll be 100% perfect, but I feel more confident in Disney holding on to these characters and rolling them out because you have people who behind the scenes who, even if they are not fans, they seem to at least know enough about fandom and the history to, even if they deviate, do something that makes sense. So that's where my yes comes in. My no comes in because there's so many mutants and there's so many storylines that I'm afraid that I don't want to get the original 5. I don't want to get just these conventionally attractive, privileged white people who are their biggest oppression is that they are mutants. You still can walk around all day being a beautiful redhead, being a tall, attractive brunette. The biggest grotesque thing is this nigga got angel wings on his back. So it's like, I don't want to start with that. But even if they do, I still feel confident that they're going to give us the entertaining story. I do feel like it's 2021. I don't need to see just beautiful white people run around on screen. You got to switch some stuff up.
What would be your dream introduction of the X-Men into the Marvel universe? Who would be your five dream characters that you would want to see brought to life in this new foray? If you were chosen to head this project, who 5 would you bring in? That is true. So while you think about that, give you some think time, Lydia. You're right. Wanda is supposed to be Magneto's daughter. The Avengers, as a whole organization, pretty much didn't want to address that because the X-Men were owned by Fox, Fox as opposed to Disney. Well, now Disney has acquired them, so many people thought that Magneto was going to be brought into WandaVision, and when he wasn't, people are now kind of like, well, how will Marvel introduce these X-Men, who were more popular than the Avengers for most of the 90s and the early 21st century?
Yeah, but I don't know. I have that confidence that's sitting on my shoulders only because I know what they've done. But yeah, I'm interested to see once the mutants actually get here, will we then get, hey, this is your dad? Hey, like the
real story.
And with the multiverse of madness, we can do that. That's we can make that work.
New Doctor Strange, you can end up with multiple universes being kind of combined together to give you the one. But now here's the answer. I want that answer, Rayne. Who are your 5?
So off the top of my head, I'm going with Bishop, Lucas Bishop, mainly because he is a Aboriginal, Black presenting man. He is from the future, and if we're gonna do multiverse of madness and all this other stuff, and because his character literally is from the future and has been time displaced in the present, I think that's a perfect way to retcon the mutants maybe already existing. So give me Bishop, bring him back to the present day, and do whatever. Next, I want Magneto, because comic books are on this like sliding scale of everybody always being 25 years old, but characters like Magneto being deeply rooted in certain historical events like the Holocaust. I would love to see, how do you now, where this man should be like 100-something years old, what do you do with him when he's either an older actor or even a Michael Fassbender? What do you do with his history? That could tie in with Bishop as well. Could you maybe switch certain world events where maybe the Holocaust didn't happen so long ago, or maybe it did and he's been changed? So Bishop and Magneto for one. Next, I want Storm. Not because she's just the premier Black character, but because she is deeply rooted in magic in Africa, in Kenya, in Egypt. Give me her. I don't need to see everybody already together, formed up, ready to fight. Give me her life, because I think with that, you're going to get a ton of actors, extras, main people, side folks who are all of color, Black, and able to get paid. Give me her time in Kenya. And then Magic. I know I was talking about, conventionally attractive white folks, but give me Magic. Ilyana Rasputin. She is one Russian. So that's a whole nother, we're not even in America anymore. We in Russia. She is a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white girl who is controlling a demon realm. She got this dang magic sword. Anna Taylor-Joy, who played her in the New Mutants, I loved her depiction of magic. I didn't like the character because she was a bit racist, but I think she really is a perfect casting for that character. I would love to see her in her ties with Colossus as well. And I don't know a lot about Russia, but I know it's not just white folks in Russia. And also, if we're going to deal with Wanda and Magic and Stephen Strange and all that, Magic is a magic-based character. She's had a history that has been constantly changing. She was a little girl, then she became a teenager, then they took her back to a little girl. She's a demon. Like, that's a lot going on that can be addressed. And lastly, I want to root for everybody black, but at the same time, I like Polaris, Magneto's other daughter, who folks
gets no shine, no attention.
I want her, like her and Alex, Scott Summers' little brother, have had relationships and whatever. Deal with them. They tried for like decades, I believe, to graduate from college, and it was always some mutant fight and stuff, and they just could not do. Give me that story. Give me a spicy little teen college thing with this green-haired white woman who controls magnets, whatever. That, give me that. And some kind of way fold everybody in, but like off the top of my head, that's what I want.
I think that's it. You just gave us the right foray with Bishop as a conduit and him bumping around time frames from Magneto at the Holocaust to Ilanya and Peter in Russia to the baby or young in Cairo.
Yeah.
That you did it. You figured it out for him. Now watch him mess it up. There ain't gonna be nothing like that. But what was your favorite X-Men era of all the era of X-Men comics? What was your favorite?
See, so I would have to say the 90s, mainly because when I was a kid, the 92 cartoon was on. I was also reading the comics, but X-Men are not my favorite team. Generation X, which came out in 94.
I love you too.
So, that's my...
Monet is one of my favorite characters. She is absolutely one of my favorite.
That is my absolute favorite character. There's no one that's
that in common.
That, yes. So for me, it's the 90s just by default of like nostalgia of growing up and seeing a lot of the stuff I saw on regular TV, like Party of Five and Living Single and all that, but then also kind of translated with even just the fashions and some of the lingo and stuff. Like that was my formative X-Men where I imprinted on the series. So it would be the 90s, specifically Generation X, but that late 80s going into 90s was that's my jam.
That was the one. This is not my favorite, but I enjoyed this rebrand.
Yeah.
My favorite time frame literally came right before the rebrand when they were sucked through the Siege Perilous and shot all around.
Yes.
That was my actual favorite because it was so weird. It's like, what is happening? And every character got sent somewhere else in the world, with Rogue being put in Australia and Sherlock going to China or, then being transformed. So it really was a way of changing the X-Men to then be able to rebrand the X-Men, although they lost Dazzler a long shot kind of along the way. So, a lot happens in the Marvel universe, but what are your thoughts right now about what's happening in the DC universe?
With the comics, I know they're doing the Future State kind of limited series or the rebrand or whatnot. So I have started trying to collect the Future State. I haven't read any of it yet. I've seen some of the redesigns, like the Brazilian Wonder Woman, the Black Batman, and so I like what I'm seeing. I like that even if they may miss the mark, they are still doing something. They're shaking it up. So I like that. As far as the movies are concerned, I feel as if we are in a never-ending cycle of badness, of not goodness. Like, I feel like they're trying to mimic the Marvel model when you don't need to. Like, you have characters and comics and story arcs for decades that you could pull from, where this is not necessary to, like, if you want to, sure, build this whole shared universe, but you can just as easily do a Wonder Woman trilogy, a Superman trilogy, a Vixen trilogy, do a Milestone series. Like, you don't have to compete in the same way as Marvel. And I feel like that's where their shortcomings came in initially in trying to rush everything. I don't know who's at the helm up there, but they don't have a Kevin Feige. Not that I could see. They don't have someone who's like, this is what we're going to do. Let's craft this and move forward. But then they do have hits like I think the Harley Quinn series was good. The animated Ivy and Harley. I like that. I even like Wonder Woman, the first one. It was, Captain America-ish, but I like
Captain America-ish, but it was good. It was a good start, a good introduction to a character who may not have known that character.
Yeah.
But you didn't like Wonder Woman 1984.
I felt like there was too much going on. There were too many storylines. That movie could have been a trilogy. Like
that movie also could have just focused on Cheetah. Didn't have to have Max Lord at all.
Like they were doing too much, and it was poorly lit at the end. That fight scene, I was like, I don't know if it's because I watched it at home on my TV, but even when I watched it like from my phone on HBO Max, I was like, no, this is dark for no reason. Like we get that it's nighttime, just like bring the lights down a bit. It was not good. It was not good.
Do you have anything coming out in this Marvel rebrand, or what we have on Disney Plus, or we're seeing from DCU that you're looking forward to? What are you looking forward to next?
Ironheart. I'm looking forward to She-Hulk because I like to see now that we have the Netflix guys as well. I don't know how quickly we'll get a Daredevil, if Charlie Cox will be Daredevil, but now that we've gotten him on Netflix and they saw the success of that lawyer, what are they going to do with She-Hulk? Like, she's very much a Deadpool break the fourth wall character too. Or is she going to continue that? Lydia.
I mean,
yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. I want Ironheart. I need to see Riri Williams. I want to see this beautiful black girl whooping ass, being in STEM. I'm looking forward to seeing. There is it a series or a movie with War Machine? She-Hulk for sure. And honestly, I'm not even going to hold you up. Initially, I wasn't interested, but now I am excited to see Falcon and Winter Soldier. Yeah, because I feel like you can't go from cosmic big stuff and then keep that same momentum with an espionage spy story. But I feel like for the type of scope that Falcon and Winter Soldier can give you, I feel like they're probably going to do a good job. So I do want to see what they come up with.
What Marvel ends up doing.
Yeah.
I'm excited too. I agree with you. I felt like you can't give us WandaVision and then give us what I think will be Falcon and Winter Soldier. You got to give us more. So I'm gonna wait 4 episodes in, like I did the last time. Before I, kind of go in and we watch it. So, we really, is there any other like black nerd topics on the table that I address that's hot in the moment? Because, you're way more at the pulse.
Look, I'm always
than I am.
Well, there's one in particular that is so weird, and I don't know if you've heard of it. So when Lee Daniels made Precious, Hugh Jackman, who plays Wolverine, for those of you who don't know, approached Lee Daniels because he wanted Lee Daniels, off of the strength of Precious, to direct a Wolverine movie. Now, more power to him. Lee Daniels, do your thing. He said it didn't work out, but that was some of the oddest black adjacent news that I've heard recently. First of all, what is Hugh Jackman doing watching Precious? Like, it's for everybody. It's a movie, but like, and what about Precious made you be like, oh yes, you
have what it takes for Wolverine?
Like,
maybe he saw Monique as like a saber tooth to his Precious being maybe Wolverine.
I guess so, but that was funny as hell. I'm not going to I got the memes and the jokes off. But really, honestly, other than that, it's just representation. It is making sure that these characters are represented well. One of the things I didn't really like about WandaVision was Monica. I feel like she didn't have. I feel like she. But I feel like she could have went a bit further, but I also understand that with COVID and with changing like filming schedules and stuff, I'm under the understanding that some of the scenes and some of the big set pieces were cut to have a solid 9 episode. This is that. So my issues aside, I feel like she'll do better going forward. But other than that, I'm nah.
So that's and so one thing we had, you're in Texas.
Yep.
You're in Dallas.
Yeah.
How was your life in the great snowstorm of 2021?
It honestly wasn't bad. It because of where I live, I had power outages, but it was not as severe. I know it happened every so often, and a lot of times it would be at night where I would wake up and like, oh, my microwave shows it. Yeah. So it would be something like that. It was, now I'm from the Midwest, so the weather itself was never an issue for me, but because you're in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
So you're in a major metropolitan area where so many people from all over the world move to. Everybody can't drive in the snow.
Yeah, it's not capable of handling the small inconvenience of that type of weather.
Yeah,
but it seems like it's exposed the fact that Texas is the least prepared place in America for inclement weather.
Yeah.
Did you vote for Governor Abbott in the beginning? Because I'm going to be honest, I know a lot of Black people who say I was an Abbott O'Rourke voter. They voted for Abbott for governor, but Beto for Senate. And obviously he was very popular among Black people at one point in time.
See, for me, I am being here relatively new here. It's been trying to survive, put out content, deal with this mess. For me, I've been trying to figure out who's who, do my little research, but I've relied a lot on Texas residents who are like born and raised and like their history with certain politicians. So I went into this blind with just a little bit of, okay, this is what he believed, but why is it so different from what he believes? I wasn't gung-ho hardcore Abbott this, Abbott that, but now seeing the mess that we're in with this mask mandate being lifted, thankfully the people I've interacted with or come across in the general public are like, no, we're still gonna put these masks on. Mask is now a part of my permanent wardrobe going forward. The
fact that we had an eradication of flu season speaks to these measures keeping us healthy and keeping us safe and keeping us well. I too believe I don't have a problem wearing my mask in public and small interactions. I don't have a problem with hand sanitizer and just the basic cleanliness of life. I agree with you about that. So as of today, would you vote for Greg Abbott?
Oh, absolutely not. No. Like, you've shown me you don't care. And it's one thing if you truly thought you were right, but what really burns me up about these types of people is that when the most bare bones evidence is in your face, where you don't even have to go digging, you are seeing the cases day in and day out. You're seeing people online, you're seeing people on the news, you're seeing people everywhere, and you have contrarians, you have people who don't believe in COVID and all, fine, but when you see the evidence,
525,000 people dead in the United States of America.
In comparison to other countries, make it make sense. Make it make sense. I don't. So that's going to be a no for me, dog.
It's a hard no. Are you going to watch The Talk? Sharon Osbourne is trending. She definitely fell into a bad hole. Accusations were made by former co-host Holly Robertson Pete previously when Sharon Osbourne called her ghetto. Although, I mean, the term, how you define ghetto is 100%, I guess, up to you and who you are. But Holly Robertson Pete Both parents, college educated, extremely wealthy. She's a Jack and Jill mom. Her mom, Jack and Jill. She was raised Jack and Jill. Someone said on Twitter that Holly Robinson's parents could have bought Sharon Osbourne from her childhood, comparatively. So the fact that Sharon Osbourne called her ghetto, definitely may have been a miscategorization of what we may consider the ghetto. And after her interaction last week with on the show defending Piers Morgan, do you think would you watch the show, continue to watch the show, and do you think there's a future for Sharon Osbourne on CBS television?
She gonna be all right. Watch Whiteness work. She is going to be all right. I wouldn't watch no, because I feel like there are too many times we are put in positions where we have to be the educators of our oppressors, and that's unfortunate. And it's one thing to have a difference of opinion and even get into a heated conversation, but when you fail to acknowledge your white privilege or your privilege period, knowing that, because what really burns me up is that, to kind of take a left here, Black culture is popular, Black people are not. They will get on Twitter and TikTok and everything and mine us for resources, but we'll skip over those tweets that say Breonna Taylor killers should be in prison, let's stop killing Black people, this is racist because X, Y, and Z. So that's then when you look around and you see somebody badgering a Black woman, the most disrespected person in the universe, and badgering them for an answer to something that's blatantly clear. Like, if someone thinks that, well, I don't think Piers Morgan is racist, and this is why. Let this woman explain to you why he is, and let that be that. Like, and this isn't her first interaction publicly like this, and I just and I'm getting a bit flustered because I'm frustrated and I'm annoyed and I'm irritated that this happens day in and day out, and it's always some type of gaslighting. It's always some type of, well, I don't see that, and this can't really be that bad. That's all fine and good, and I'm sick and tired of telling people to say, oh, well, instead of saying Black, put woman there and see how you feel. Do you not see this? No, you shouldn't have to do that. I'm not one to say women shouldn't be assaulted because my sister is a woman. No, women just shouldn't be assaulted. In that same vein, this Black person who is oppressed should not have to be your educator. Not when there's Google, like Lydia said, there's Bing, not when there's Twitter, not when there's all these places where you already consume Black media and flip it and put a white face on it, telling you the same thing. You're being selective with what you want to pay attention to. You're being selective with what you want to. So no, your answer is no, and that white woman is gonna be okay. She's still.
I don't know. I don't watch the talk. Okay, let me just tell you right now. Okay, what I watch is not the talk. I don't watch the talk. I don't watch the Real. I don't watch the Wendy Williams. I do watch the View now that I was home because of quarantine. So I watch the View. And I actually love Meghan McCain on The View, because if you didn't have Meghan McCain, you just have four women agreeing with each other.
Yeah, so right.
But Sharon, I am not going to watch any more CBS. I'm a lifelong 60-minute watcher. Boycotting the whole network. I don't care what they have on the network. I'm not watching that network until Sharon Osbourne is removed from the talk. And I'm so thankful that Oprah has already done her interview, because that may have brought me to break my boycott. So if CBS wants me as a viewer, they have to do one of two things. Either they're going to get rid of Sharon Osbourne or bring Oprah for another show, and I'll watch that one Oprah show and never watch anything else.
Yeah.
I believe she's done. Sharon Osbourne made a complete fool of herself by speaking out and exposing her racist thoughts.
There you go.
I'm glad she did, because I think a lot of people have those same kinds of thoughts, whether they're about Black people and racism, whether it's about transphobia, whether it's about homophobia, whether it's about how they view other marginalized or minority communities. I'm thankful that Sharon did that. I'm thankful that Sharon said, well, educate me. Like, it's your job to convince me that I'm racist. I love that she did that, because that's what she was doing. Sharon Osbourne was saying, it is your job to convince me that I am racist. And if you can't convince me, then I am right and you're wrong. It was a great moment for television. To me, it kind of proved that Sharon Osbourne doesn't even have the chops to be on TV. If you don't have enough common sense to have not engaged in that way, you probably don't belong on TV. So
Like,
and then look at your life, Sharon. Look at your family. Look at your drug-riddled husband. Nothing about it makes sense. I'm excited to see, you know, what CBS is going to do. I'm watching closely. I think I may send a tweet every day to Sharon and CBS, a daily tweet to reminding them. I just want to remind you, it's time for Sharon Osbourne to go. Now, when will you be joining us in Atlanta for a visit? You chose Dallas to move. You should have moved to Atlanta, but we'll let it go.
oh, you know, I used to live there. I used to live in Atlanta. I was there for yeah. That was back in what, 2006? Yeah, I was there. So
and didn't you love it? Didn't you love this city?
Yes. I'm not gonna hold you up. Atlanta is a wonderful place. It's a beautiful place. And it will always be near and dear to my heart. I had some of my struggles back there as an adult. I had some of my great loves. I had some wonderful friends. You know, I became an adult in Atlanta. So yeah, yes. Yes.
I don't understand how anyone could ever leave this city. I haven't been to Dallas in a long time, but it is on my list of places to visit. Good friends there. But I'm gonna be honest with you. Every time I think about Texas, I choose the other city.
Yeah.
I always choose Houston.
Yeah.
Over Dallas, but I'm gonna work really hard. I'm gonna, definitely get it. So I can't wait for us to engage and meet in person.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us. And this is one that I think will be continue to watch. We gotta do it again.
Yes. I'm down.
And so anytime we have some big black nerd news, we gotta engage. So I'll be reaching out to you with Tracy for 3+1 and have you on. What is the next big series that you're going to be we're tuning into with the podcast?
I will be doing the first episode at least of Falcon and Winter Soldier. I'm not sure when Pose is coming out, but I'll definitely, because it is the final season, I will be going into Pose. Black. I don't know, Lydia. I don't know, fam.
They have to. I think they have to, but you have to. Marvel needs to give us a well-rounded portrayal of characters in all shapes and forms. Mm-hmm. We do need to see black villains just as much as we need to see black heroes, and they need to be written as every good villain is written in a nuanced way. And an example of that would be Killmonger from Black Panther. Mm-hmm. It was a well-written character, nuanced. A good villain makes you feel for them. That's probably why Wanda is on the way to becoming that penultimate villain of the universe, because it's one that you will be rooting for that villain and you will want that villain to succeed. Mm-hmm. So Marvel has to give us that balance experience. And Marvel has to also, toe the line. I mean, Billy is gonna have to be gay. But we're gonna have a gay Billy. We're gonna have to eventually have a gay Bobby Drake. Like these things, you're gonna have to have, a gay. Is it America Chavez? Yep. You're gonna have to have that happen. So I think it's coming. It's just, I hope we start to see that in the new rollouts. Yeah. I'm expecting to see more diversity in Falcon and Winter Soldier. We'll see.
I hope. I don't know. They got their whole HBCU marching band trailer drop. I don't know what the heck. That's why I'm like, I need to see what y'all got going on. But yeah, so
maybe the Winter Soldier is going to be a member of the LGBTQIA+ community.
I don't know, possibly. But then my thing with that is with Disney, I'm not confident. I really enjoy. Oh, hey, Lydia.
You need to check out his podcast, The Carefree Black Nerd, and it is phenomenal. I do not listen to many one-person podcasts, and I actually like his podcast when it's just him. Way better than I like when he's on a guest. But just being honest, you just do a great job of engaging and telling like it is, and you're educating, and you are a wealth of knowledge on your topics, and I always learn a lot.
Thank you.
I know a lot. When I can say that I learned from listening to you.
Okay.
you know, I mean, I think I'm one of the world's #1 Wanda experts because there hasn't been one comic book featuring Wanda in a prominent role that I didn't buy.
Okay, well,
A whole lot of them I didn't like. I hated the Scarlet Witch series. Trash, horribly written, garbage, pathetically drawn. You know, but I bought it, I read it, made the best of it. So, Rayne, thank you so much, my friend. I can't wait for us to engage further and enjoy your. It's beautiful there, right?
Yeah. Oh God, yes. The weather is amazing today. Yes.
Enjoy your beautiful Saturday, my friend.
Yes. Same to you.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.